It's another side that like wants to take more, wants to go that one more round, because like going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Welcome to One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast, episode 2. With me today, of course, is Kyle and Katie. Kyle, how you
doing? Great. How are you guys?
Doing good. It's been a busy week, and today is going to be busy, so I have to get a ton of caffeine in. I leave tomorrow for yet another vacay.
Another vacation.
Yes. I'm going to Ecuador, the Galapagos, the Amazon. Another trip of a lifetime.
Wow.
Before this Earth of ours explodes, there's a lot to see. So yeah, doing that. So it's just been busy trying to get stuff packed and the house cleaned for Grandma and Grandpa to come babysit Rambo and Balboa. But yeah, good.
Well, I go back to work tomorrow. We're talking about polar opposites. My leave and everything's over. Yeah, I'm going back to work tomorrow. Back to the grind, back to the busy life. But I've had a great break. It's finally over. All things come to an end, good and bad, I say. So Kyle's just getting over a cold.
Living the dream over here.
With all the germs from your kids' daycare.
Yeah, I know. My immune system's getting a workout. I feel like with the pandemic, I didn't get sick forever because I was never around anyone. Mm-hmm. And then once like the restrictions lifted and my son started going to daycare and stuff, it was just my immune system was weak and pathetic. Now it's paying the price.
You reminded me of that guy from Rocky IV. Weak and pathetic.
Weak and pathetic. This nation has become.
Yeah, that's right. Now, before we get to the emails, Katie, I want to say you did a great job last week at the time of this recording when you guest starred on episode 3 of It's a Long Road, the Rambo series podcast. I'm looking forward to the release of that. You did a wonderful job and look forward to having you on again. And Kyle, he will be episode 4 if you're still up for that, Kyle.
Yeah, is that next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
He sounds thrilled, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. I am excited to do that, actually. I didn't realize Sunday mornings my wife has work phone calls.
Oh.
Before we go into the emails, I wanted to make sure that Kyle is at the ready with our bum count.
Yeah, I got it right here. We encountered 6 bum references so far. Just to recap, Brian predicted 36 bums through the entire film. Louise predicted 46, I predicted 56, and Katie came in at 225.
It doesn't work for just one episode because last time it was 6, but it would be a good drinking game as people watch the movie. Like now I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head. So next time I watch it, if anybody makes it a drinking game, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. You'll be very drunk.
Well, I'm concerned you'll die of alcohol poisoning. So it might have to be like a sip of beer or something every time, or a sip of wine every time.
Not a whole drink, like a drink, like one gulp of whatever it is.
Yeah, if you took a shot every time you heard bum, you might die.
You would die, yes. I mean, not on Ryan's count. Ryan's is only like 30-something.
True, but that's actually how Paulie got drunk in the film. He was counting all the bums, so he actually got progressively drunk as the film went on. Okay, so we got a couple emails there, Katie, from our first episode.
We do.
This is exciting. So, if you want to send us an email, send it to One More Round Rocky Podcast. That is One More Round Rocky Podcast at gmail.com.
Is it all just one word?
All together, no underscore, One More Round Rocky Podcast at gmail.com. Yeah. And it's going to be in the description of every episode if you need to look.
All right, so we have one from Jared Talkstein, host of the Hyperspace Podcast. He says, just finished the first episode of One More Round. Bravo. Loved the breakdown of the first fight. When Katie said that she had never really gone this deep into detail on the first fight in the movie, that was like a switch being flipped for me because I'd never really explored that fight in much detail either. And that's why this show is going to rule. Your next Rambo episode is in the queue, and I'll listen soon. Great job to all involved. Nice. From Jared Talkstein, host of the Hyperspace Podcast. Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, that's
Any comments?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, no, I mean, that's very kind.
The next one is from Doug Greenberg from the Rocky Minute Podcast. He says, "Hello, friends. I'm so excited to have you guys back in my ears, covering the one and only Rocky. Even though we went through this movie 1 minute at a time, I can never get tired of hearing discussions about one of my favorite movies ever. Although I've seen Rocky dozens of times, I never realized the depth of Stallone's acting until we covered it in such detail. One of my favorite scenes that portrays this is in his apartment after the Spider Rico fight. Not a word is spoken besides him rehearsing the shell shock joke, and his nonverbal acting says more than any dialogue ever could. He stares at himself in the mirror and notices his third grade picture. He looks back and forth from the picture to his reflection, and you know exactly what he's thinking. How did this innocent, fresh faced kid become this? It's a really beautiful scene and perfectly acted. There's many instances of his nonverbal acting, and this is just a small one, but it's so powerful. Love you guys, and I can't wait for more. Doug." I couldn't agree more with you on that particular scene. It's like, I think, one of the best of the movie, and we might even get to it today.
I think we are getting to it. I'm being more prepared this season. I'm actually kind of gauging what we're going to watch and timeline-wise in my head. So I've watched... You guys don't have to worry about this. I'll take care of it. But I want to make it more... what kind of makes sense. Like, there's certain scene breakdowns that make sense. This is a good place to stop type scene. So I think today, the good place to stop today will be just before Rocky enters the gym. So he's about to enter the gym. And he talks to Mike outside. He's about to find out his stuff's on Skid Row. So let me get back to Doug. So Doug, he said it so well. In fact, he said it so well that when we get to the scene, I know,
right?
He took the words out of my mouth. Wonderfully said, Doug. But we'll talk about it for sure today, Katie, for sure.
So thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thanks so much, Doug and Jared. Send us emails, guys. We'd love to hear from you, guys and gals who listen to our show. The emails are really special to us. It lets us know people are listening, and the insights, of course, are always spot on and well said. Okay, so before we get into the movie, there is a little bit of a Sly news, and I'm going to play it for you guys. I don't know if you saw this, but did you know that Sylvester Stallone has entered the NFT game?
No.
Okay.
No.
There's your initial reactions. Okay, well, let's listen to what Sly has to say about it first.
Sylvester Stallone, I love connecting with my fans. After all, we've been together, 50 years, and we're tight. I'm so excited to tell you about Sly Guys, my new cool NFT collection. Every NFT is unique. Over 200 incredible attributes like boxing gloves and crazy weapons, and even my large dog, all inspired by my lifelong love of art and comic books. These NFTs are so much more than just digital collectibles. Sly Guys has a roadmap that goes the distance, all the way. We're going to have awesome merch exclusive to my Sly Guys community. And get this, your Sly Guy NFT is your membership to real-life events with me, like dinners, meet and greets, a film and cocktail club, and we're planning so much more. But first, you got to get a Sly Guy. Go get some Ethereum, set up your MetaMask or Coinbase wallet, and get ready to mint at PlanetSly.com. Meet you on Planet Sly and keep punch.
So it's called PlanetSly.com. Thoughts, initial thoughts, reactions?
First of all, I hate NFTs, the whole idea of NFTs. And actually, I'm not a big fan of crypto either.
Same.
I think it's a bubble. I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money in crypto and NFTs going forward. There might be some future for it, but I think it's pretty highly speculative and dangerous. Is an investment. Now, if you're buying one of his things, you're not necessarily an investor, so it's not a big of a deal. But NFTs give me the heebies anyways. When I see him doing NFTs, my initial reaction is pretty negative. The only thing I thought that was kind of interesting was he was saying something along the lines of, if you buy one of these things, you potentially could have some sort of other benefit, like a meet and greet or something like that, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, so,
I agree.
That might be with it, but it's like, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to... Don't you have enough money? Why are you doing this? This seems kind of almost a little bit sleazy, in my opinion. I'm not too thrilled about it.
I concur a bazillion%. I'll start with positive. My positive thoughts were, I loved when Butkus showed up and he called him. One of the things you can buy is my large dog. I loved how he said that because that's how he says it in the movie. So that was basically the extent of how I thought it was positive. Negative was everything Kyle said. The only thing I would add, it cheapens him. And I don't really think this really plays to his core audience either. So what's he trying to do? This is not who his people are.
I feel like some business manager talked him into doing this. Hey, man, NFTs and crypto are a new thing. Like when he was talking about getting your Ethereum and your MetaMask and stuff, I guarantee you he doesn't know what any of that means.
Oh, absolutely. And it's completely the opposite of one of the things that we kind of loved in, was it Creed, first one, where he's the Cloud, like his character,
Yeah, that's right.
Rocky. And like we found
Right.
that very endearing. And I know that Sylvester's not Rocky, but still, I just feel like it's not what his fans like at all about him. And if anything, it turns us off.
I think I echo a lot of what you're saying. I don't know if you saw the site there. Are you able to see the site?
Yeah. It's like Planet Hollywood. Now it's Planet Sly.
Planet
Is he just
Sly.
repurposing
Yeah, exactly.
Planet Hollywood shit?
Yeah, it's exactly what I thought. It's odd that they would use the word planet, Sly, and with his association with Planet Hollywood, it's an odd choice connection, whether it was intentional or not. That's what we both thought of. I was looking at pricings. Don't see any yet. It says they haven't been announced yet. Sly Guys, I guess, are like little characters here of artwork. So this is what they are. I don't know if you see them here. So it's
Yeah.
almost like avatars. You can create your own Sly avatar.
For what? No offense to people who are super into this, but do you not have anything better to do?
Just in case people here aren't exactly sure what an NFT is. Like, I'm sure everyone has heard of
If
NFTs.
you're able to talk to me like I'm fine with it, please.
Like, I work in finance and investments and stuff, and NFTs are floated around as an alternative kind of investment. Not seriously in the investment community, but a lot of people see it that way. I actually made my own NFT once just as an experiment, just to see what it was all about. NFT stands for non-fungible token. And what it is it's usually like an image or a video or a GIF or something like that. You have a, for lack of a better words, a digital stamp that's put on it. It uses that blockchain technology that crypto uses, so it can't really be duplicated or faked. That is yours for sure. The only thing is it anyone could take it and use it if they want to. Like, it's not like you own this and only you can use it or people have to pay you to use it. It's not like that at all. Anyone could just copy this picture and use it for whatever they want. You just have your stamp on it. So you could just say, I happen to be the guy who owns this. There's no real meaning to that at all. And then you could sell that right to someone else or something. And I made a NFT of a grilled cheese sandwich I cooked at lunch once.
That's
And I put it on the open market and no one bought it. But you have to use usually Ethereum or some other type of cryptocurrency to buy it too. To me, NFTs are worthless. It's junk. People talk about like selling certain NFTs for like $600,000, but basically, if you're buying it for that, you're just hoping someone else will pay more. Like, it doesn't have actual value behind it at all, which is the issue I have with it. You're basically just giving Sly money, really, because it's not like you couldn't get that image otherwise. You're just putting your kind of digital stamp on it.
The best way to describe it for me too is there's like video games where people sell in-game items for real life money. So when you're in the game, let's say it's World of Warcraft is a popular one, a lot of people know that name, and I want a certain sword, but I can't find it, blah, blah, blah. I'm having a hard time. Now this sword, like Kyle's saying, this sword or this NFT, it's not real. It's not a real thing that I can hold. It's a digital code, but I need it for my character. So I'm going to buy it with real money. And it has a value within the community of the game. I can also sell it within the game. And for World of Warcraft, gold coins. Those gold coins don't mean anything in the real world. I can't buy a house with them, but there's still a value within that community. So I think NFTs or in Sly's Planet, it's the same idea. You can say, I own this avatar. And yes, you can cut and paste or screen capture my avatar and just put it on your own Twitter. Say, well, I own it too now. And that's the argument against these things, but like Kyle's saying is that, but I own the code. Yeah, I'm the owner of this. It's like when you buy a star in the heavens, you can buy your star for, hey, that star is mine. But everyone else is like, yeah, but I get to look at it too. And I could just say, hey, I bought the one next to it. Like, what's the real value in that? I can say that star is named after me. You can buy a star, right? But what's the value in that really? Because I can say, well, I bought that star for $1. It says who? What does it matter? I'm just saying I own it, right? And so, but it's fandom is what I'm getting at. You don't have to like Sly or World of Warcraft. It's like saying you're a top fan.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, yes, Kyle, you're absolutely right with your theory. I agree with you. The guy that runs the Sly shop or the Sylvester Stallone shop, I don't know if he listens to our show. I highly doubt it, or if he has any friends that listen to our show. But from what I understand with this guy, for whatever reason, I don't know how he did it, but he is like in Sly's ear. He runs the Sly shop. Of course, he's about money. But for whatever reason, he bends Sly's ear, and Sly will do whatever he says regarding merchandise. This guy can at me and let me know that I'm wrong. But if I were to guess, if anyone got into his ear, it's probably that guy. Said, hey, there's money to be made. Now, is he wrong? Sure, there's money to be made. Does it cheapen Sly, whatever. I mean, he's making money. People have cameos that are washed up actors. They have cameos and what have you. And
A lot of actors do that, but we kind of look down on that. I mean, we shouldn't be judgy like that, but rightfully or wrongfully, we have esteem kind of assigned to these people. And for us, we do kind of have Sly on a pedestal. We don't want to see himself, for lack of a better term, like whoring himself out.
I'm just looking at it pragmatically and objectively, just in the sense, I hear you're right. I know what you're saying. I mean, like, it's a business. You know, he's building up his gold pile for his family. If someone were to tell me, Ryan, if you drew a picture, whatever it is, and I would buy it off you for $100,000 because I think you're amazing. I just love you so much, Ryan. I'd be like, really? You want to? Okay, here's you own this picture of me, Rye Guy. Here's a Rye Guy. It's kind of hard to turn down that kind of money. Now, does that cheapen the podcast that I do? Maybe, I don't know, but I still have the podcast so you can listen to. You don't have to buy my Rye Guy, but
it doesn't equate because in your example, that's unsolicited. Somebody's like, hey, I love you, Ryan. Can I buy this thing?
Okay,
and
then
he's
I say, hey, this is great. I wonder who else wants to do it. Then I don't know.
Well, true. And people do it all the time. And it, again, is sort of like, well, how much money is enough?
Right. I hear you.
What's Sly's net worth?
Yeah. It's $500 million.
Okay, so you're worth $500 million.
No matter how much money you have, seemingly you want more. When I say you, I just mean like people.
Just to give you an idea, if his $500,000 earns a 5% return, which is modest, that's not a high return. That's like very traditional type of investments. His monthly income would be $2,083,000 a month. You have almost more money than you can spend at that point.
Yeah.
Why do you need to do this? It's funny. I work with money, but I'm not a big money person. Like, I'm not motivated by it really. But for me, I'm like, okay, $2 million a month. Like, you're in the fractional 1% of people who make that kind of money. Of course, don't do this NFT shit. That bothers me.
All right. Well, everyone's in a great mood now. Let's review.
Yeah. I know. I was like, God damn it, Sly. Why do you have to do this?
Well, at least it's not criminal behavior. And
true. That is a really good point.
You know,
no Me Too stuff, so we're good.
Yeah. It's it's Sly being Sly, but like I said, I think I agree with Kyle. I think we have somebody in his ear. That's my theory. So I agree with your guess, Kyle, and I have a theory that I know who it is. I feel like this guy has really shown Sly the way to make money from being Sly, and I don't know how much of this Sly would do on his own had this guy not existed. That's just the way life goes sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at that. And Sly is an older gentleman. I mean, he is 75, 76. I think he's very bright. But I think there's some... Yeah, I think he doesn't know what he's saying, and he's reading a script in that video.
People can be very persuasive. Like, some people have just mastered the art of persuasion.
Right.
They really can get into someone's ear. I don't know how they do it, but they know.
So, yeah, we don't agree. I was just trying to do the voice of some of the people that might agree with it. I think it does cheapen. I agree with you guys. I just want to give the voice of, I get what he's doing, but I wouldn't do it either. If I was Sly, I wouldn't bother. If Ryan was a celebrity, I wouldn't do it. No. So I wouldn't do it. It doesn't make me a great person, but I wouldn't do it. Okay. Sly's done sillier things, but yeah. All right. He did Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. He did that for $50 million or whatever.
I need to rewatch that because
No, you don't.
No, because when I saw it, I was a small child and thought it was probably pretty funny. I don't know.
You know what? Rewatch it and listen to our review of it again. And then the review.
I remember your review. Yeah.
Okay, so we left off last episode with Rocky asking the fighting guy, hey, when do I fight again? And he was about to start walking his neighborhood. That's really hard to hear, even when you have your headphones on full, but he's singing or whistling the Rocky theme here at the very beginning.
Is he?
Yes. See if you can catch it. It's like
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The first few notes. He doesn't carry it all the way through, but he does do the Rocky theme. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was... Yeah, you're right.
That was a good catch, you guys.
Look at those cute puppies.
Not a fan of puppies in pet stores, but this was 1976 or 5, so.
You're absolutely right, Katie. I'm the same way. And of course, we'll get to a scene later with Buckus, his station in life. But no, it's weird to see these 3 puppies in a window. It's very odd. You would not see that today. No.
Well, Ryan, I was going to comment just on the street here. What a depressing looking environment here that he's in. You see the shops are not well maintained. The sidewalk is not well maintained at all. It hasn't been repaved forever. It's cracked. It's broken. There's trash everywhere.
Do you think that garbage was placed there, or was it already there?
Already there, I'm sure.
That's crazy.
I'm sure Philadelphia was similar, but if you look at New York in the 70s, it looked like this, but worse. It was rough. I think Philly it's right next door. I think it's going through something very similar. I would not want to walk down this street at this time of night here. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have to place trash or anything. That work's already done.
Yeah, I know. You see the trash here. It's crazy how much garbage is lying around.
To Kyle's point, from a female perspective, I don't like to walk down any city street at night by myself.
Like my wife and I were in a parking garage, like late at night. And she's like, "Do you feel scared in this situation?" I'm like, "No."
Oh, parking garages are the worst. Yeah.
Oh, I want to say too. So Sly, when he wrote the script, he purposely wanted the pet shop across from the gym, which we have here. So the pet shop we see, that's actually a fake pet shop that was created. The interior was created for the movie. The exterior for the gym is exterior only, and the interior of the gym is actually in LA, but the exterior, of course, is in Philly.
Also, we see him bouncing his black ball. Did anybody else have an issue, like hygiene issue, watching this? The whole time he bounces the ball on those nasty streets and in the bathrooms, and that's all just getting on his hand the whole time. Just me.
I never thought about it. It's a dirty ball. He likes to play with dirty balls.
Super dirty. Yeah. Fingerless gloves, but still, I mean,
there's something on his fingertips. But you're right. Maybe just the fingertips are getting it, but maybe the partial glove is partial protection, yeah. He wanted to show the pets, though, being these young puppies. Sly wanted to show that you have the journey of these young, fresh animals out into the world where the people around them, like himself, are past their prime.
Interesting. There's a train, or maybe we don't see it, we just hear it, the train in the background.
Yeah, we're going to see the trains later on, but they would time the trains on purpose when they wanted them in and out of the shots. It would be on walkie-talkies behind the scene. Okay, the train's coming, start filming, because they wanted some frames with the trains and some without, so they had to correlate the train schedule.
The shot you have it paused on now is phenomenal. Everything is building. Dark. Yeah, with the Mickey's Gym sign, and it's just so dark. And I never really noticed before how decrepit the side sign is. It says professional boxing.
You could barely make it out to be saying professional.
So these are the opening credits as well. So we've seen all the main characters, and now we just have like sort of the secondary characters. Thayer David, Joe Spinell, Jimmy Gambino, and George Memoli. Who is George Memoli? Who does he play?
Good question. Jimmy, of course, is Mike. Joe Spinell's Gazzo. Thayer David, I think he's like the promoter, I think.
Yeah, with the Carnation guy, Jurgens.
Yeah.
Jurgens, yeah.
Jurgens, yeah.
Take it back. Take it back. I said I've been told by some people and they are.
So you know which one Frank is?
The Letterman jacket?
Yeah. So, of course, the famous scene here of Take It Back. And now, apparently, Frank would sing with these guys in New Jersey. This is the real group that he was singing with on the corner. So they would do this back in the day. This is something they actually did. So they implemented it into the film. And there's a couple girls here. I don't know if you'll notice this, but there's 3 girls, 1, 2, 3, and they look young. And there's one girl in particular over this guy's shoulder. You'll see when it gets close up how young she is. And she does a quick look to the camera, too.
It seems like the burning trash bin has kind of gone out of style. Like, you don't see many people around a burning trash bin anymore. It seems like in the 70s and earlier, that was kind of the thing to do.
Well, they got a lot of garbage around to throw in there. And that can they're using, that's that thin aluminum type can. You figure that's going to melt.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There was a documentary on New York in the 70s, the beginning of hip hop. One of the guys was saying that they would hook their equipment that they stole up to the electricity from one of the light posts. They just kind of MacGyvered it there. Back in the 70s, cops didn't care if you did stuff like that because they had bigger fish to fry. It was underfunded and there were murders and stuff they had to deal with. Whereas in New York, you couldn't do that now. You couldn't wire up to a light post. Cop would be on you in 2 seconds. And I wonder if burning garbage on the street here, probably you couldn't do that in Philadelphia today because the cops would kind of be like, no. Then back in the 70s, they're like, yeah, whatever.
One of you mentioned how young you thought the girls were.
Yeah.
How old do you think these people are.
Sly's 30 in this film. Well, check out the girl here. You'll see her. Okay, there's that young girl here. She's probably maybe 18. So these girls were actually just literally in Philly. They only had 5 days, by the way, to film in Philly. So all the Philly scenes were done in 5 days. So they just grabbed locals. Hey, do you want to be in the movie? So these are not actresses per se. They're just people that were there that aren't part of the singing group. So this young girl here.
I think it adds to it. I really do.
Now watch this young girl coming up here. She's really young. This one here.
Yeah, she looks like she's 17.
No, she looks like she's 13, 14.
She's probably 17, I think.
Oh, wow.
Frank has a Letterman's jacket on. These people clearly peaked in high school. Is that what we're like? They're going nowhere. Like a high school Letterman jacket? Is that what he's wearing?
We don't get to see it after this shot, actually. They focus on this guy here that he grabs the beer from.
And it's a 40. I love that. I love that. It's a wine bottle.
It's a wine bottle, yeah.
There's Frank there. You know, there's a little boxing with his brother. Hey, hands up. He ducks. Of course, Rocky says, you guys, you're getting better every year. And this is to indicate that nothing's changed, really. It's just the same thing every year. Over and over again. Same routine. Collecting for Gazzo. Losing these club matches or winning these club matches. And these guys are singing. It's like nothing's really moving as the city's decaying.
Same old, same old.
Yeah.
Just real quickly before we get to the apartment scene, because I think the mood really changes there. So here it all seems pretty happy. The guys singing seem happy. Rocky even kind of starts running a little bit. He's like, hey, guys, you know, like it's all very, I don't know about happy, but content. And we don't see that he's like unhappy.
It's familiarity, I think, too. I love he kicks the garbage bag that's on the sidewalk here, and I love this. It was naturally there. We're talking about how the garbage is naturally around this place. I just love how this little garbage bag has this moment in history. You know, somebody actually carried something in the bag, dumped it out, said, I don't want this. It's like, and it ends up in a Rocky film. I want to know what the journey of this garbage bag was.
It's kind of like the feather in Forrest Gump, but just the garbage bag instead.
Now, the movie was produced by Irwin Winkler and Robert Chardoff, okay? These famous producers, they were young producers at the time. Irwin Winkler's still alive. I think he's 90 now. Robert Chardoff passed away, I think, in 2015. Now, according to these guys, the story of how they got Sly's Rocky script into their hands is a little bit different than what Sly has told over the years. They actually got Paradise Alley first from Sly. That was the script they got first. And they didn't want to make that. But what they recognized from that script was they recognized that Sly did have a unique writing voice. They recognized his ability to write and that he was a new voice in Hollywood. A somewhat younger, he was 28, 29 at the time. So they recognized that this guy had a voice, a unique storytelling voice. And they saw the movie Lords of Flatbush. They also recognized Sly with that performance that he had potential to be like a young Marlon Brando. So the producers saw it as well before Rocky even came out. Of course, they saw this potential in this young man. So they said, well, do you have anything else? You know, they didn't want to make Paradise Alley, but they wanted Sly. They knew that they had something with him. Sly said, well, I do have a story in mind based in Philly about a boxer. He didn't have the script written yet. He only had the story in mind. And so he quickly pounded out the script because he had an opportunity here with the producers and he didn't want to lose it. So he quickly produced the script and they read it and they liked it. And what they liked about it was the fact that, yes, that Rocky lost the match at the end of the fight. And they said, okay, we got something here. They made Sly do it for free. And then they worked with Sly for 6 months on the script, tinkering with it, all done for free. So Sly did it for free. They didn't make any indication that Sly would never not be the choice and or that they weren't going to, or they offered him any kind of money. So I don't quite know where that or maybe they didn't put that in their story, but it sounds like they were with him from the very beginning. They always liked him. They wanted to work with him. That's the producers. So I don't know. Take it for what it's worth.
I'm really glad you brought that up. It's not at all the story that Sly tells.
Maybe he shopped it to somebody else. I don't know. I've also heard from other reliable sources that Sly's story is not accurate.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
He likes to embellish.
I mean, the story isn't as glamorous, the ones the producers tell, but it makes sense. They like Sly. Mm-hmm. They actually really liked his personality. They thought he was amicable, nice, intelligent, well-spoken, funny, and they wanted to work with him. They worked 6 months on the script with him, closely. So I don't know why they would work with him that long to not want him to be in the film. Now, the producers had to... Now, maybe between the producers and the studio, there was some argument. That might have been what it was. That the studio who fronts the money were like, no, who is this schmuck? But the producers believed in it, and they pushed They pushed. They basically made a deal with the studio saying, look, we'll make it for $1 million so that it's going to be no cost to you, basically. And if anything goes over $1 million, we'll pay for it out of our own pocket. So the studio's like, okay, knock your socks off. So that's how they got the movie made. Was they told the studio it's basically going to be a free movie for you to make. What do you have to lose?
Does that budget also include advertising?
Everything.
Everything. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Really?
Okay, well, I don't know about advertising back then too. It wasn't quite what it is today. The business is a little bit different back then. I mean, they did make movie trailers, as we know. They made a movie trailer that showed the whole film.
Totally.
But anyways, the film was actually made just under $1 million. I think they actually went under budget. Actually, funny enough, like 900,000 something. But now that we're talking about a little bit about the production, I'll mention this as well. John G. Avildsen spoke about his time with Sly here, about kind of the difference between Sylvester Stallone in Rocky, the first film, and Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 5. He said that working with Stallone in this one was amazing, in that he was a hungry actor. John G. Avildsen was like, there's nothing better than a starving actor. They give you everything. They give you all. They listen to everything. Sly's enthusiasm about the film was amazing. It was contagious to everyone involved. So Sly, to his credit at this time, was the driving force of this film. He energized everybody. He was positive, listened to everything that John G. told him to do. They rewrote over 300 pages of script rewrites during the filming, with John G.'s influence as well. And he said that, however, when he worked with Sly on Rocky V, he said it was like working for Prince Lippenstein or something like that. I forget the name. But it was not the same Sly 15 years later. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Now, I love Sly. And we've talked about this before, that Sly is a good actor. And he can do a really good job in films when he's hungry, like Copland, when he listens to the directors.
And he knows that about himself, ironically. Him making Rocky 3, that was all about that. That was the whole theme of that movie.
Yeah.
To a degree, he's self-aware enough to know that about himself, but at the same time, not quite fully as self-aware when he was at Rocky 5, according to your story there, which I believe.
The truth is probably in the middle. Yeah, and that's what I was saying, that I think the producers have their version. And they're not saying it didn't happen, but they're just saying that's how they worked with Sly. But I don't think the producers provide the money. I think it's the studio. So the studio might have balked at Sly. Offered him we'll take this, everything you've worked on, guys, and we'll take it for X number of dollars. And Sly's like, well, no, this is me. I'm doing this. So that's probably what happened as well. Okay, so he's about to enter the studio here, or his apartment. Now, this apartment, guys, just so the exterior, again, is Philly, but the interior of the apartment was L.A. And the apartment that we see is truly what you see is what you get. That's a real apartment. All the stains, all the...
Of course.
Yeah, it's just, I can't believe people lived in this.
People live in worse, man.
Wait. You said the interior is an actual apartment, but it's in LA? It's
Correct.
Not staged? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a real
I
LA.
took a train through North Philly in 2007, and there were areas I saw that looked worse than this. This is also North Philly, by the way. In a lot of ways, it hasn't gotten better, at least some parts of it. Like, if you do Google Street View in some areas, even this street, I actually think from Google Street View looks a little bit better now than it did here, but only marginally.
Now, I know we all know about the knife. It's actually a bayonet knife that's in the mattress that he uses for a punching bag. But did you
Heavy
catch all
bag.
the other knives that are in the house?
That one right there in the wall or something. Yeah, it's like a machete almost.
It's a machete. Yeah, it's stabbed into the wall. He's actually got more in the mirror as well, and he uses them for like his hat racks.
Oh, yeah.
And the records here being held up, they're being pinned like his record shelf. I guess he's pinning these. But that's actually a clothes rack, but he's using it to pin his records instead of clothes.
So it is a studio apartment.
Not to spoil it too much, but when Adrian moves in, eventually, you're going to see quite a few small but subtle improvements that she'll make to this apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looking in the fridge for beer, and there isn't one, but there's that's disgusting. I can hardly watch that. Like an old, stale, just backwash left in the bottle on the top of the fridge.
Yeah. There's no fresh beer in the fridge. I love it. There's nothing in there. He grabs a...
There's a non-zero chance there's a roach in that beer.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, good enough. So this scene is, I think the mood significantly changes. Maybe he's putting on a show for people.
Sure.
On the exterior. Now he's home and we see his real feelings about.
I would have had that $90 in my pocket for winning that fight. I would have got a 6-pack on the way home.
Right?
Well, to be fair, maybe he's smart with his money. He's got to put away for rent.
He's got to put away for rent.
How much rent do you think this costs?
I managed apartments. One of the tenants in the building I managed, this is when I was in college. I lived in the building too. She had been in the apartment since 1975, I think, the same year there. The rent that she was paying at the time, like this is like 2008, I think it was about $900 a month. Like it was a small apartment, but it had all of her rent increases since the 70s. And her apartment's probably better than his. Her rent was around $120 a month in the 70s.
Okay.
My grandparents' mortgage payment on their house, which they bought in 1970, was like $110 a month. I'm guessing his rent is around $100 or maybe a little less a month.
Okay.
Because it's such a shitty apartment. He basically, in that fight, earned his rent there,
Yeah.
not including utilities and stuff.
The average beer price for 6-pack in 76 was $2.60 for a 6-pack.
Definitely stop for a 6-pack and some more donuts.
Yes, you earned it. You burned
Yeah.
some cows in that fight. You could afford a beer or two.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly, man. Give yourself a pat on the back, have a beer, listen to the radio.
And the average rent was about $156.
Okay, so we're shown the fishbowl that he's going to go over to the fishbowl. We literally had that same fishbowl. We had a beta in it.
Why weren't you there, huh?
So he asks his turtles, Cuff and Link, why weren't they at the fight? Well, they couldn't catch a cab.
I love how he's talking to his turtles there. Hey, I have a question for you guys since you're pet owners. You ever have your pets talk back to you? Like you'll say something to your pets and then you'll do a voice for them to talk back?
I've never spoken for my pet. No, not in that way.
Oh.
I haven't yet. I've talked to them, though.
Yeah, I like assign a voice to them more so like for other people. I'm trying to translate almost what they would be saying. Oh, grandma, hi. When my parents come in and yeah.
I guess I'm mentally irregular is what I'm trying to say because I do that all the time and I make my dog sound like an asshole to me even though he's super nice.
I'm like, just let me love you. Like when they don't want to be snuggled and I'm I just want to snuggle with you. And then I put a voice to them like, Mom.
I'll say something stupid and then I'll just randomly say my dog's voice, something that like criticizes me or says something mean to me. I guess I'm mentally irregular is what I'm trying to tell
We
you.
all are a little bit.
We are all very mentally irregular. Did anybody else think, dude, that bowl is not big enough for 2 turtle? He loves them. He's so sweet. He loves his animals.
I don't think he sees it. I think.
Yeah.
But you're
I
right.
know.
It's ridiculous that 2 turtles are literally in a
They
popcorn
can't
bowl.
move.
He has those 2 turtles and Rocky Balboa in that tank. And of course, they're huge compared to what they are now. I don't think the tank, given their increased size, was that much bigger than this bowl.
Same.
It's just a shitty life. You're just in this prison cell type of environment.
For sure.
Turtles don't have our minds either, so maybe they don't get bored as easily or whatever. I don't know.
I think turtles. Well, I know fish have bad memories.
The attention span, a goldfish has like a 7 or 8 second. It's an attention span. I don't know if it's a memory. And the only reason I know that is because it was used in a slide at like a marketing presentation about how our attention span is that of a goldfish. Humans can't concentrate on things for more than like 8 seconds either.
Katie, did you just say something?
You got me. It takes me a minute. I'm like, oh. But getting back to Rocky, I love that he brings their friend Moby Dick over.
We all forget about Moby Dick. Everyone talks about Cuff and Link the turtles.
I know.
They're still alive to this day, but I'm pretty certain Moby Dick has passed on in the last 20 years.
Certain he did. Yep.
Hey, you guys hungry?
You guys hungry? He feeds them some fish.
Here you go.
More moths and flies.
I think so. Does he get caught in his throat?
Want to see your friend Moby Dick, huh? Oh, Moby Dick, you miss me today or what?
This is the first time you really hear him talk, too. You hear him talk a little bit before. This is like the first time you really get to know him. This is our introduction to him as a person.
Oh, look, he's talking to his pets. He's bringing Moby Dick over from the fireplace mantle or whatever. So
there's the Rocky. He clearly idolizes Rocky Marciano. It's the biggest piece of art in the room. And Mickey talks about him. I oddly enough, have not even really looked up much about Rocky Marciano. Do you guys know much about him?
A little bit. Rocky Marciano was champion in the 50s. In the 70s, it's only 20 years ago. So, like, if we think back to 2000, that doesn't seem that long ago.
No.
True.
Yeah.
Rocky Marciano was never defeated, ever. He retired from boxing. I think 50-something and 0 or 49, I don't know. Similar to Mayweather's record.
I looked it up. It's like 63-0.
Rocky Marciano there was a conversation in the other podcast I had about the debate on whether he or Muhammad Ali was the greatest of all time.
Oh, interesting. Also, he must be Italian.
He is Italian American. His name is not actually Rocky Marciano. I guess his name isn't really Rocky. He went by that name, but he was born with some like really Italian sounding name and just went by Rocky Marciano. But he is actually a similar fighter to Rocky in the sense that he's smaller for a heavyweight. He's not that big. He fought low. It was not graceful at all. He just put the pressure on you hardcore. He was really tough. He could take a hit. Rocky Marciano actually is a good comparison. So when Mickey says, like, you move like him, you have heart like him, that's not bullshit. Like, that is true.
Cool.
His name was Rocco Francis Marciangio. So I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that's the Italian name. So they changed it. It's spelled like Marchegiano. So they changed it to Marciano because it'd be easier for us Anglophones to say.
Yeah.
But his name was Rocco. Birth name was Rocco.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that name.
Yeah.
If you never saw Rocky, if you never saw this movie before, because I don't know if any of us actually remember the first time we saw this film. If you've never seen it, you don't know what he's like, and you could think that he's like dark and mean and kind of a more of a screwed up type of character. But when he's talking to his turtles there, and he brings the fish over, you kind of see a softer, more jovial side to him. It really kind of sets the tone there, because Rocky, this is his darkest film for sure, and he is darker in this film than others, but even so, he's actually quite lighthearted throughout a lot of it.
Despite his circumstances, yeah. The animal thing, as an animal lover, the theme throughout all of the Rocky movies, I think that helps me love him. I mean, I think that's part of it. So seeing this, granted, he probably partially has them because he's trying to suck up to Adrian, but he likes them. He loves them. He did not appreciate Mickey's comment about the turtle soup and stuff.
And there's lots of nuggets in this apartment, too. My dream job is to be the person that sets up these places like that. Mm-hmm. I think Sly did a lot of the setup, or it's a lot of his actual personal stuff in here. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a gun on the wall somewhere here that's actually his.
I think we see in the date scene, not this one.
Yeah.
We got a picture here of him playing football on the wall, and then I think just over here you got a football trophy that he won right over his shoulder right there. See,
there were a few other trophies on the left side of the mantle as well, little small trophies. Again, I think it's weird. Meaning an adult person showcasing, like Frank with his Letterman jacket, like he's still wearing his Letterman jacket from high school, and Rocky still has trophies up seemingly from high school sports. So it just seems odd. You're like a 30-year-old person with your high school trophies showcased.
I've noticed that with people my parents' age and a little older, they put more stock into high school than we do. For our generation, high school is just seen as a given. Did you ever go to a high school reunion?
I did for my 10-year, and that's it. I don't think they're held anymore the way they used to be.
Yeah, because people don't give a shit about high school anymore.
No.
You're almost expected to go to university now or do something else. High school now is what middle school would have been to this generation. Okay. And so I think people put more stock into high school, but I also think Katie's right in the sense that Rocky probably hasn't accomplished anything since high school, really. Like, other than his fighting career, which is kind of so-so. Like, he's probably proud of that football thing. That's probably one of the last really great things he's done. I guess it would be 12 years since high school, or 13 years since if he finished. I think he went to grade 9.
He did not finish. 9 or 10, I think he says in that interview.
You probably wouldn't have been playing, I don't know what your terms are in America, like varsity football or whatever.
I guess, but yeah.
So I wouldn't be doing this shit.
So he tells the turtles and the fish, I wouldn't be getting myself beaten up every night if you guys could sing or dance.
So
He
cute.
uses that twice, the sing or dance. So hanging his jacket up here on the machete. Shadow boxes with the beat up mattress. He hangs up his hat on a knife in the wall. And what I love here, this is a really cool scene because we all know the scene and we know where it's going. But when you're first time watching this, he just starts monologuing, and this turtle food I got here has got more moths than flies, see? And then he says, well, who the hell cares? And it's a very interesting, like, why is he monologuing this? And then why is he acting so discouraged by it at the same time? And we find out later is because, yeah, he's cracking jokes with this shy girl at a pet shop, and she's not reciprocating his jokes very much or as quickly as he hopes. So he's even feeling discouraged, of course, about his love life, about his companionship life. And this is a scene that makes sense with repeat viewing. It's one that doesn't quite make sense the first viewing.
That's such a good point. Well, also, this movie is children like it less because it's partially to that point. I remember being a kid watching this. I was like, what's going on here? And you don't know until later. So it's a really nice touch. He's looking in the mirror while he's doing this, and there's a whole bunch of photos, black and white photos. One when he's 8, 10,
Yes,
and he's so cute.
Third grade there.
He's so cute. And then the upper left one, it looks like his actual senior picture.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't graduate, but you can still be with the classes. He didn't, quote unquote, get a GED or general education degree, whatever they call it, a grade 12 degree. But he still went to school till grade 12, and then he just never completed high school. That could be what it means.
I don't think so. Yeah. I just think they didn't think this much about it. And then there's a picture of his parents. Yeah. It's literally, I think, the only parent talk ever.
They exist in the universe. They do exist.
Yeah.
And talk about existing in the universe, Rocky Marciano exists in Rocky's universe. And Sly mentioned that by doing that, he recognized that right away he's already kind of blurred the reality and fantasy in this movie by mentioning a real-life boxer in a fictitious film. We have real-life characters existing in Rocky's professional career. So are any of these people contenders? Did he beat these people? Or, so the idea that Rocky Marciano and Rocky eventually both held the same title.
Rocky Marciano's fighting career doesn't match up with Rocky Balboa. They easily could exist in the same universe because Rocky Marciano stopped fighting in the 50s when Rocky was like this 8-year-old. To me, the real problematic thing is they have Joe Frazier in this movie. That, to me, is the real issue because it's like, what happened to Joe Frazier?
Yeah, they've introduced real life people in the fictitious world of Rocky. To build off what you were saying there, Katie, that the pictures of the parents, it is interesting that we see again in this, the Rocky universe, that Rocky does have parents, and then he must love them or have some sort of fondness for them that he would put them on his wall. But we never see them, of course, on screen as characters. The only thing we really know about them is that he was told, because you don't have much of a brain, you better learn how to fight. That's the only. And then we learn, of course, into the latest scene of Rocky Balboa that Dad went to jail.
Yeah, no, don't like it, but yeah.
And there's another football reference here too. In the top right, there's a circle. Keystone Conference champs.
Yeah.
So Pennsylvania is the Keystone State.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that his football was some sort of state championship, which I'm guessing Sly, that's a real thing from him. Like Sly was probably in something like that.
Well, the pictures are real. There's a picture of him again, like his football uniform, like posing for like the pictures of whatever year that was.
The decal or decal, as they say in the States, is 1967. So that's when he won that championship.
Which is weird because Sly was born in 47, wasn't he?
46.
46. So he would have been 21, which is well outside of him being in high school. So maybe that's not.
It's this turtle food got here had more flies in it, no more moths in it than flies. More moths than who the hell cares?
Now here's the scene that Doug was talking about in his email about now Rocky's frustrated about his monologue that he wants to give to Adrian after he practices it. Who the hell cares? Throws the food down. Now he looks at the picture of that kid and he thinks to himself, how did that poor innocent little boy become the beat up pug who lives in this crappy apartment, can't get a girl? How did we get here? It's a great unspoken acting and moment here by Sly and the director John Gialvaldson that we all know what's happening, but that's an amazing storytelling that we can get that from this.
I agree with Doug's comment 100%. Sly always likes to take from real life. I'm guessing he's been in this situation where he's been in his crappy apartment. Like he talks about his crappy apartment in LA before he got Rocky, and he probably has looked in the mirror and thought this before. He probably doesn't have to really dig a lot to find out what that emotion's like. He has that emotion on hand and could replicate it in the film here.
The way the camera pans in that scene was really brilliant. It's like focuses in on a close-up of the child's picture and then kind of goes back and forth, and then it pans over because he's looking in the mirror, and then it pans over to the real Rocky as he walks away, disgusted seemingly.
Look at the walls and the drawers. That's what I mean. It's all...
Oh, well.
Get some ice out of the icebox. I'm shocked he even has ice cube trays. That really.
He doesn't care that like ice cubes are falling on the floor. I think he's at the point where you don't give a shit.
He doesn't even put them in a cloth or a towel or anything. He just holds them in his hand. A few ice cubes.
Yeah, that always kills me because your hands are going to freeze a lot sooner than the swelling in your head will go down when you put the cold compress on. So he's doing the right thing. Put a cold compress on your swollen part of your body. But yeah, your hands are going to freeze before it does anything good to your forehead.
An underrated aspect of this scene is the music. I don't know what this music is.
But I know who it is. It's from Casey and the Sunshine Band, I believe. It's an instrumental.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an instrumental from one of their songs.
He lays on his shitty, it's not even a twin, is it? I mean, what is that bed?
It's a single
Like, it
for sure.
seems-
It's a toddler, maybe. A toddler.
I know it does kind of look like a toddler bed, but this super shitty bed and there's crap all over it. And there's like a shelf on the wall. And to your point about that he's probably religious, he does have a crucifix. Ryan, on the wall.
Look at the time. Anyone catch the time? It's midnight.
Oh,
Where are
yeah.
you seeing that? I don't see
There's
a clock.
there's a small clock below a bottle that's by the crucifix.
Oh, I'm so blind. I can't see. Okay. Yep.
All right, so we'll stop it there. That's perfect. We had a lot of great discussions today. And the first 15 minutes was, I threw you guys for a loop by playing that NFT from Sly announcement.
Oh, yeah.
So that took up 15, 20 minutes of discussion, which I think is great that this podcast, as we go through it live and we go throughout 2022 and 2023, whatever year this is done, as we go through, we're going to get Sly news, and I think it's important that we do talk about as it comes up to talk about the Sly news. I do want to keep this podcast evergreen to a large degree. Like, we're not going to talk politics or current events per se in the world, because I want people to be able to listen to it at any point. However, Sly news such as that, a new movie projects or NFTs, those things we will talk about because, I think people might still want to hear our reactions on certain things. And as things develop, we might change our opinions about projects or movies or what have you. So
I just want to point out the bum count was 0 in this episode.
Oh, yeah. There was very little speaking, if any. Yeah. Good point. He didn't call the people standing around the fire bums or anything.
No, they get better every year. They're getting better every year.
Yeah, I know. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna lose, I think. Maybe.
A lot of film left, okay? Don't lose hope.
So I just want to thank everyone that's joined us in our Discord. We had about 4 or 5 people actually join us at once today. People came and went, but we had John Rambo joined us in Discord. Louise joined us, Donald. So yeah, we thank everyone that joined us in Discord. If you want to join us in Discord for these live recordings, again, just join our Discord. Description in every episode of how to join. Just click on the link and you're in the server. And I always announce when we go live in that server. Katie, well, the episode's over.
I didn't hear no bell.
I just want to say